this week on the Fan Club podcast.
And today we are joined by some special guests. This is Shoot the Flick. Introduce yourselves.
Hey, so happy to be here. My name's Frankie.
And I'm Scott.
Oh, the Perot version has pumpkins and fairy godmothers and...
Yeah.
Well, not all of them can have Leonardo da Vinci just show up.
People blame the local misfit Cinderella, who's a rebellious loudmouth maid.
We love that for her.
I feel like the stepmother role, if you're going to do that, especially nowadays, that's such a role that almost has to be done in such a way that's almost a little cartoony.
Because it's a good movie if it gets released on Amazon Prime.
Hey guys, so editing Sarah here. So this episode was originally supposed to be the second episode of this series, but we ended up having to switch things around. Long story. So this is actually the second episode, so we don't actually really explain in this episode what this series is going to be. I think you can kind of get from the gist of it, but basically we decided, since there are about 1,000,001 different adaptations of Grimm's fairy tales, that we would sit down and talk about the various adaptations from the Disney movies to, in this case, Ever After and the Brandy version, the live action version, and how they compare and contrast to the Grimm's fairy tales version. If that wasn't clear in the episode, there you have it, a little elevator pitch for you. So that's kind of what this episode and what this month will be. Sorry about that for not actually explaining it. Hope it makes sense and hope you enjoy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fan Club podcast. My name is Sarah.
This is Matthew.
And today we are joined by some special guests. This is Shoot the Flick. Introduce yourselves.
Hey, so happy to be here. My name's Frankie.
And I'm Scott.
And our show, Shoot the Flick, is just about a old married couple introducing each other to new movies, kind of similar to what you guys do. But yeah, we just kind of go all over the genre spectrum. My dog does not stop complaining. She's like, I want to play. We're talking about more important things right now. We're talking about Cinderella. Our show pretty much comes out on a weekly basis, very similarly also to you guys. And yeah, we're just an old married couple that likes to talk about movies very similarly to you guys.
Yeah, I really like your guys' show. I love your Oliver and Company episode I just listened to, and then I listened to the Midsommar episode the other day, which is like one of my favorite movies that has been released recently. So
yeah,
that movie is so good.
Sounds wild.
It is a wild movie.
Oh, it's crazy. But once you go into the woods and you see a giant sun statue, you're like, no, I'm out. I'm going. Goodbye. See ya.
I was not understanding what to expect from that movie. I knew it was about a cult, but I didn't know what it was about. And Midsommar?
Oh.
But I loved your guys' coverage. I thought you guys handled it really, really well, and I thought it was really funny as well.
Well, thank you. We definitely appreciate that. We try to keep the laughs up.
Indeed.
That movie, easily, you could talk about all the nitty-gritty little details, and it could get really dark. And talking about fairy tales based off of that originated as Grimm's fairy tales, because Matthew has a lot of nostalgia for Grimm's fairy tales, and I have a lot of nostalgia for the OG Disney movies. So, as we all did.
Right. Same here.
Yeah.
And we kind of, when we were going through the list of the Grimm's fairy tale stories, we realized just how many adaptations, specifically of Cinderella, there are. Yeah. And how different they all are.
Well, yeah, depending on when they were made, the budget, live action versus animated, it gets really into just a bunch of different ways. You can take arguably a very simple story.
Right. Well, I think that's why it's like that, because it's really a simple story, and you can kind of reinterpret it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, so we've got the original 1950, well, I guess it wasn't original. There's many others that are older than that, but
right,
for all intents and purposes, the original Disney 1950
The original
version.
American one.
Yeah. There's the 1997 classic Ever After. The 1998 Rodgers and Hammerstein's Brandy Cinderella with Whitney Houston. There's Cinderella Story, which has like 3 different iterations. I think I've only actually ever seen the Hilary Duff one all the way through.
Yeah, I've only seen the Hilary Duff one because, like, you know, I'm a child of the 90s, and Hilary Duff was like God to us at one point.
Oh, yeah. Like, I loved Lizzie McGuire as a small child, so she was like...
Too, yeah. It's funny, too, like, because Scott hasn't seen that one either. But I was like, oh, we don't really need to watch it. I'm like, let me put it this way. The poster for that movie is Hilary Duff in a ball gown and, like, Converse sneakers on Chad Michael Murray's shoulders. And he's like, oh, my God, Chad Michael Murray? I'm like, yeah, that's all you need to know.
Did you know the original person that they wanted for Chad Michael Murray's role was Rupert Grint?
Oh, my God. That's everything. I did not know that. That's insane.
But he was in the middle of filming Harry Potter at the time, so he couldn't do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's how I got into you guys, because you were posting about your Harry Potter reviews. I'm like, well, I gotta listen to this. And then I was like, okay. Yeah.
That movie, I love Jennifer Coolidge. What a legend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who doesn't love her in Legally Blonde?
Right. Yeah.
But the Cinderella story as a whole, like, it has several iterations from other countries as well. That story has kind of existed for an eternity. But Matthew, are you aware of the Grimm's fairy tales the first people who did Cinderella?
Yes. Grimm's
Okay.
fairy tale is essentially the start of most fairy tales in Germanic. So in German, they were one of the first. I'm reading the Cinderella story right now.
And I think the bones of the story in all of the adaptations are all kind of there. You know, the
to an extent.
that,
So the original Cinderella was written by Charles Perrault.
Perrault?
Perrault sounds right.
Perrault.
Yeah.
Yeah, Perrault.
Yeah, because the only reason we know that is they just said it as we watched Ever After just shortly before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and Brothers Grimm are actually characters in Ever After.
Yeah, which I totally forgot. They opened that movie, I'm like, oh, the Brothers Grimm are in this. I forgot, like, the framing device for that whole movie.
You know how every kid has their movie that they watch on repeat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ever After was mine. I watched it. Like, Ever After and Wizard of Oz, I cycled between.
Yeah,
that's not a bad combo, though.
The original was written in 1697. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce this French title. Essentially, it's more magical, which is more of what the Disney one is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
And less of the Brothers Grimm, because that one has the pumpkin, the fairy godmother, the glass slipper, the more magical aspects to it compared to the Grimm's fairy tale.
Disney is famous for kind of, for lack of a better word, watering down fairy tales.
This is very close to the French one. The original Cinderella, not the Grimm's fairy tale.
Oh, the Ever After?
No, the Disney version.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The 1950s version seems to be more aligned with that one and less of the Grimm's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make fun of that in Ever After. They're like, oh, the Perrault version has pumpkins and fairy godmothers and... Yeah.
Well, you know, not all of them can have Leonardo da Vinci just show up.
Meanwhile, the Ever After one has Da Vinci, and when Da Vinci came up in the movie... Because first it's just some old guy, and I'm like, oh, I remember who this is. And Scott's like, who is this? And then they say who he is. And he just like gave up and his head in his hands. I'm like, okay,
So-
just wait.
It's funny. I love that movie. It's so beautiful, and I'm obsessed with it. However, it's set at a time where not only did Leonardo da Vinci was already dead, and
Yeah.
two, the book.
We tried to figure that out too. We were like, so he's an Italian painter, but somehow, for some reason, he was in France for an extended period of time where he knew the Prince of France, along with just random people in the French countryside for no reason at all. We're like, all right, let's just go with it.
The book that Danielle's father gives her, Utopia,
Mm-hmm.
didn't exist yet.
Jesus. Of course not.
Sounds about right for a movie.
Of course not. Creative liberties. It's fine. It's old. It's all the same.
But
Just old stuff.
So, the only thing... So, I'm on the Cinderella wiki right now. So, those doing the bingo game.
We've got a bingo board going.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So, those that are playing bingo this episode again. So, Cinderella is a folktale with thousands of variants throughout the world. The protagonist is a young woman living in forsaken circumstances that are suddenly changed to remarkable fortune with her ascension to the throne via marriage.
It's
The
rags to
earliest
riches.
Is the
Right.
story of Rhodopeus, recounted by the Greek geographer Strabo, sometime between 7 BC and 23 AD, about a Greek slave girl who marries the king of Egypt, is considered to be the earliest known variant of the Cinderella story. This version is widely known as the English-speaking world, was published in France. So the one that everyone knows the most of is the
French version.
the French one, which is the Disney one, which is
Mm-hmm.
Ever After, which is the Brandy's version, but the
Brandy's version is a little more fantastical. It's not really
which is
set.
the French one.
It's not really set in any sort of reality.
Yeah.
Somebody on Twitter years ago said that the Brandy Cinderella, like the stepmom's house, looks like the inside of a cheesecake factory.
I
I
mean,
can't unsee it.
not gonna lie, yeah, for sure. I just remember like the aesthetic being very like you said, kind of fantastical and like over the top and swirly, like just lots of swirls in the.
I mean, we've got Whitney Houston, and we've got Bernadette Peters,
Oh my god, fucking.
and
imagine,
Whoopi
sorry.
Goldberg, and Victor Garber as
Uh-huh.
King and Queen, who have an Asian son somehow.
You know what's funny? When I grew up with that movie, and I purposely, this is one that Scott didn't watch because I eventually want to do this on our show and just like have a complete like breakdown of this movie. But like when I watched it as a kid, like the fact that all of the freaking characters were basically different races, and yeah, Whoopi Goldberg was as a black woman, Victor Garber as a white guy, somehow made a Filipino male child who wants to be king or doesn't want to be king, and then you got like Jason Alexander in there and Brandy, of course, and Whitney. Just so much going on, and like it never even like registered to me that they were all like it was just such a good movie. It didn't even register to me.
And like the Disney version has some songs, but the Rodgers and Hammerstein's version is a different set of songs.
Yeah, because it's just a separate thing. Like
And that's
that version's
version
based
that's
off
on
the
Broadway.
musical that was
Yeah.
on Broadway. Yeah.
That's the 2015 one?
No, the
No.
2015 one is the live action remake of the Disney one.
Oh, okay.
The,
Sorry.
the
Too
Brandy
many.
one, the Brandy one came out in the late 90s, and it was like a TV
98.
movie for Disney, live action with Brandy.
Okay.
It was
It's
actually a Disney TV movie. It was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep them all straight. There's so many of them.
there is a lot. That's true. There's a lot.
Watching it in 2023, it's very dated.
Oh, I'm
It-
sure.
It didn't really. I mean, it's not that it didn't age well, but like it looks very 90s.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's such a classic, and maybe it's because I have nostalgia for it. But
And the songs too for the Rodgers and Hammerstein one, like they definitely modernized them, because if you listen, there was a revival of the Rodgers and Hammerstein one on Broadway. I want to say like within the past 10 years.
Yeah, it was
because I actually was able to see it,
2013.
thanfully.
Yeah,
2013.
Right. So, yeah, and if you like listen to the soundtrack for that, it's very like hoity-toity, like old classic Broadway type vibe, right? But then if you watch the 97 movie, they definitely modernized the songs to make them more accessible to a 90s like modern audience. Like if you listen to Brandy singing those songs, you wouldn't, and then you listen to the soundtrack, it's like a totally different song basically.
The
So they
soundtrack,
didn't.
the soundtrack
Sorry.
of that movie are such earworms. Like they,
Yeah.
I used to hum in my own little corner as a small child all
Same.
the time.
Which is why I'm mad they never released it on Spotify, like never, and I'm like, why wouldn't you release the album though?
It's
so
on,
good.
No, it is on you. The whole soundtrack is on YouTube though, so
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't just rock it up like Knight's Tale, make it something like that.
Oh well, Knight's Tale's a whole different can of worms.
Oh,
yeah.
Similar kind of story.
Yeah, kind of.
And then just because you brought it up, the live action Disney remake with Lily James,
Mm-hmm.
that one arguably you could say that it's probably the best of the Disney live actions.
It's not bad. I would say that it's mostly just like forgettable. Like it's perfectly fine and passable. I would just say it's like, like it's forgettable. I think
Egregious.
Yeah.
Like some of the Disney live actions did. And maybe it's because we're in sort of a phase of like, can we stop it, please?
Yeah, please, enough already. But I think the best thing they did in that one, from what I remember of it, is they kind of enhanced the relationship between Cinderella and the prince. Because if you look back, of course, to the 1950s one, you don't really get much of a
Prince Charming
relationship
has zero
between them.
personality whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, he says
I mean,
like
none of
maybe
the
like
Prince
5
Charmings
words in the whole
have a
movie.
personality, though.
But Kit, like Richard Madden, like AKA,
He has a name at least in the live action one.
like
What's his name in the original one? Nobody knows.
yeah, I think it's just charming.
Yeah, like literally.
But like Kit, Richard Madden's like Prince Charming is so funny and so, for lack of a better word, charming.
Yeah.
Like I like that they have a rapport beforehand. Personally, I'm partial to Prince Henry from Ever After.
He's cute. He is very cute.
I kept trying to figure out how to say his first name.
Well, the actor's first name, because it spelled like Doug Ray, and I was like, there's no way it's pronounced
Gray.
like that.
It's Doug Ray.
Gray, and I looked it up, and I was like, okay. And he's like, he kept saying, what were you saying?
Duggery.
Duggery, like Dungaree, but Duggery, and I'm like, that can't be it either.
Duggery
like,
Scott.
That's funner to say. I'm like, okay.
A what?
So there was a musical in London. There was a Broadway version in London where the roles were reversed. So it was a princess where instead of an evil stepmother, it was an evil stepfather. Instead of stepsisters.
Is that bad
okay.
Cinderella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that bad Cinderella? I heard that tanked.
It's
Like,
Mr. Cinders in 1928.
Oh. Because there's also
And
Bad
Disney
Cinderella,
made
which is the Andrew
Cinderella
Lloyd Webber
twice.
play.
Cinderella, Disney made 2 different Cinderellas. One in 1922 in animated Laugh-O-Gram.
Oh, okay.
Laugh-O-Gram existed before the Disney company did.
Walt Disney helped make Laugh-O-Gram.
Yeah.
He was one of the...
Laugh-O-Gram went under, and then he formed Disney.
To animate 12 cartoons, which he called Newman's Laugh-O-Grams. Yeah,
Is that where Steamboat Willie comes from?
I would assume, right?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it was Disney's brainchild with Steamboat Willie. Well, Mickey in general, but it was because I think Laugh-O-Gram created Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and then
oh, okay.
They did from 1921 to 1923.
You guys, what is your favorite Disney, not Disney, Cinderella adaptation? What do you guys think?
Well, I pick the Brandy one every time, for sure.
What about you, Scott?
I probably stick with the original. The 1950. Yeah, I grew up with that one, so I kind of know that one the best.
I rewatched that rather recently in preparation for this, and I still like it a lot. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to show my son the old school Disney. He's only 2, so he doesn't really care that much.
Yeah.
But he seemed to really like parts of Cinderella, I think.
Yeah, well, I dug it not really because of Cinderella. I like the mice. I like Jock and
Jack and Gus Gus.
Yes, exactly.
My son liked Lucifer.
Oh yeah. The cat's funny.
I think
So
that
evil.
movie would be like 20 minutes if it wasn't for the animal stuff.
Yeah, well, I find it also funny that they named the cat Lucifer for this children's movie. I find that kind of funny.
Well, it's an evil cat.
I mean, yeah, true.
He is so aggressively evil. And I find it funny that him and Mother Gothel from Tangled have the same death.
Oh, you know what? That never occurred to me. But, you're right, yeah. They both, get flung out of a very, very tall window. Although it's implied, I guess, that Lucifer doesn't die because aren't there sequels to Cinderella?
Yes, there are 2.
The third one's the best. The third one's the best.
I always hear that. I never watched. I've seen a lot of direct-to-DVD Disney stuff, but Cinderella's I haven't seen.
Take everything you know about Cinderella and throw it out the window, and then
okay, gone, done.
Yeah, because isn't the third one?
It's
time travel.
Yeah, there's time travel, but it's also starring the redheaded stepsister, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anastasia.
It completely rewrites every character in there.
Fun.
That's
what you want in a sequel.
And it's so campy and dumb and weird, and the animation could not be more different too, because it was
right.
several.
I know that because I've seen clips
2007.
That was the phase of let's make every direct-to-DVD sequel
of every single movie imaginable. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some
that'll make us money.
There are some that, especially because the Disney company was losing money in right after the Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I do think they have some winners, Emperor's New Groove is great.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and Lilo and Stitch, but pretty much other than those two, the post-Renaissance era is kind of dud.
And then they picked
dud.
back up after with Princess and the Frog and.
Oh yeah, that was the revival age, and then we had Princess and the Frog and Tangled, and that kind of gave us a resurgence. Frozen, obviously. I feel like we're going on a downhill slope again, though.
Oh,
more
for
recently,
sure, and
which is unfortunate.
We're in a remake culture right now.
Yeah,
so.
It's just never ending.
But I haven't loved a lot of the recent original Disney ideas. Luca was just okay.
Luca was okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen all of Strange World yet.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm dreading it because I know I'm not gonna like it because everyone freaking hated it. But yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Strange World.
The one that had no advertisement. So it's gonna be bad when they don't even advertise it at all.
Was that the one that was released in theaters and on Disney Plus in the same day?
Not all the same day, but it left theaters very quickly, and then they threw it on Disney Plus, being please watch our movie. Look, it's free. You just have to have Disney Plus, and then no one watched it even then. Okay.
I didn't even know it. I feel like I'm pretty well versed in Disney stuff, and I didn't even know it existed until it was already out.
Yeah, because they really didn't advertise it at all. And I don't know why. I don't know if they just thought it was a dud or I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. I'm not well versed enough in that one.
I liked Onward, but is Onward a Pixar?
I think Onward is Pixar, but even that it was okay. And I heard this new one that's out, Elemental, is just okay also.
Oh, it literally just came out.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen Quantumania or Guardians 3 yet, so...
Okay, Quantumania is fine, but Guardians... Are you guys, into Guardians? I
liked the second one a lot.
Because Guardians 3...
Guardians is just because the Guardians that they have in the movie aren't the original Guardians. Lloyd Webber's making a Cinderella, apparently.
They already did.
He made it, and it flopped.
West End in 21 and Broadway in 23.
Here's the thing.
I think it's off already.
Come for me, theater heads. It's okay. Andrew Lloyd Webber does not have the best track record.
No.
The man made Cats.
I'm a theater nerd, and I will concur. He got lucky with Cats, and he got luckier with Phantom. But
there's a lot of songs.
It's a lot.
I've only heard that one, They Call Me Bad Cinderella. I've only heard that because it's all over TikTok.
Yeah, I don't even know what the plot is to that one. I've heard things, and I don't know.
It's a gothy version of it, I think.
I think so. But now that's off, I think I saw something or read something somewhere that they're going to do a West End revival of Phantom. So maybe he'll focus on that. Or an off-Broadway version of it. I don't know.
I have a lot of respect for the man. I do.
Yes.
But stop.
Yeah,
Retire, my dude. You're fine.
I think it was Cats. Didn't I say it was Cats? Not Phantom. I wish it was Phantom. I think it's Cats that he's trying to revive again. Enough. Why would you want to do that? The 2019 movie did so well. Let's bring Cats back. That's what the people want.
Because
honestly, I have
Bippity-boppity-boo.
I have seen clips of the stage version of Cats, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. It's very the Cats on Broadway is very spectacle-y.
I'm ashamed to say that Cats was the last movie we saw in theaters before COVID hit.
Oh my God, you poor thing!
And it was the last movie we saw in theaters for several years.
Oh, Manon.
Yeah.
And Matthew told me. Matthew told me, he was like, "You're never allowed to pick the movie ever again."
Oh. Well, they were pushing that so hard for Oscars that year. They're like, this is gonna be the Oscar movie of the year, because musical, and it's open in December, so they're like, oh, this is gonna get all the Oscars. And then
yep. Then it became a joke.
That might be the single worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
It's a nightmare. It really is a nightmare.
That's a tough.
I've seen it twice, so I can.
I've seen it once, and that's enough.
I saw it once, but I made them watch, him and my mother watch it for an episode of our show, and I was like, never again. I'm done.
In my
now.
personal opinion, a bad movie is worse than a boring movie, and that movie was both.
Hey guys, Editing Sarah here. So, for some context for this clip, it wasn't that clear, but Matthew is currently, in this clip, reading the synopsis of Bad Cinderella by Andrew Lloyd Webber for the very first time, having no knowledge about it prior, and knowing really nothing about the theater world much at all, other than what I've told him. So, and obviously this is not a visual podcast, but I wish you guys could see the faces that he was making while reading this for the first time. It was really, really funny. So that is what we're laughing at. Yeah.
Oh my God, your face. Okay, go.
This one is vastly...
It completely turns it on its head. It's not faithful at all.
So...
It's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
There's a song called Buns and Roses.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
The town people blame the local misfit Cinderella, who's a rebellious goth loudmouth maid.
We love that for her.
They gag her and tie her to a tree in the woods. Bad Cinderella.
Oh, Ella Enchanted. That reminds me of Ella Enchanted. That's all.
Prince Sebastian, which is Prince Charming's younger brother.
Uh-huh.
Cinderella's only childhood friend, arrives and rescues her and teases her for being tied to a tree again.
Okay. Again.
Where's the plot?
Where is it?
Does Andrew know how to write plot?
No.
Essentially,
No,
the
I
queen's
really don't think he
beloved,
does.
flawless firstborn son, Prince Charming, died in battle against a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping Beauty.
This is
Yeah,
also
Sleeping
the
Beauty.
man said, here's a book of poems. Let's make a play.
Exactly. Yes. Let's make the cats sing songs together.
The whole play is them introducing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So, since you two are seemingly more of the experts than me and Matt here, Which do you think?
Mia. Oh, I thought you were talking to them two, and I didn't realize. Okay, never mind.
No.
Continue with what you were saying.
Sarah and Frankie.
Yes.
Since you two are more the experts, what do you think has the better music? Is it Roger and Hammerstein, or is it the 1957 one for Cinderella?
I'm gonna give it to Rodgers and Hammerstein.
I think so too. I mean, I really do like the opening song in the Disney one. "Dream is a wish your heart makes." I like that one a lot.
I also love "Sing Sweet Nightingale." I sing that to my son occasionally.
That's cute too. But yeah, I think the Rodgers and Hammerstein music is just like any Rodgers and Hammerstein vehicle.
They're
It's got,
earworms.
yeah, absolutely. Got great lyrics, great tunes.
I can't
used to
tell
sing
you how many times the Stepsister song like felt the "I want to feel girl."
Yes.
Like her.
Oh my god.
I can't tell you how many times that song is in my head.
Yeah. I used to sing those songs all the time. So yeah, I would go with that.
The Stepsisters in that movie are probably my favorite iteration of the Stepsisters.
Yeah, because they're so over the top and comical. I feel like in the 50s one, they're like comic relief as well.
They're irritating in the 50s one.
Yeah, but they're more irritating. In the Brandy one, they're like annoying, but they're more funny than they are annoying.
But I also like, and maybe this is just Bernadette Peters' presence, but I like how she's like snap out of it. Like she cracks the whip at them, you know?
She's a queen.
I love Bernadette.
To be fair, Angelica Houston's a really good stepmother as well in Ever After.
But I do think Angelica Houston, I actually don't even know.
I think it's Houston. I'm almost positive.
She's also Morticia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a very similar vibe.
Mm-hmm. No, it is, yeah.
Though I kept thinking as we were watching Ever After, just recently, like as we were watching
like literally just now.
Because when she first enters the picture and Cinderella's father dies and then reaches up to Cinderella and goes, "I love you." I'm like, and she looks at her like evilly. I'm like, you're hating this child for her father's dying breath.
Well, I think it was like implied that she didn't like her before that, but that was kind of like the nail in the coffin a little bit.
Somebody said, I read a tweet because I was like doing like some little bit of cursory research to see what other people's interpretation of that movie is. Because I have a very biased interpretation of it because I love it. And somebody said that they felt like it was heavily implied that the stepmom killed the dad. Or that poisoned him.
You know what? Because I didn't remember how he died, and I thought it was very strange. Yeah, I thought it was very strange that he just like randomly kind of keeled over one day.
His arm, and that's a symptom of a heart
That's
attack.
the only reason why I was like, oh, maybe it's just a heart attack. I could see why people might think that, but I don't. Yeah, because then she's like, "Don't leave me here. You can't leave me here." I don't think she killed him in that scenario.
I love.
Although I could see Kate Blanchett freaking taking out the dad in the live action one.
I also love the stepsisters in Ever After, specifically the scene where Marguerite gets hit in the face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was so satisfying.
It.
That was very satisfying.
But also,
you tried to save a baby from a horse? That's so
a runaway horse. It was like, oh god.
I'm glad that they made the other stepsister, Jacqueline, very sweet.
Yeah, that made me happy.
And I like how she has a love story with the
coachman or whatever. Yeah. What I didn't like about Ever After and like the sweet Jacqueline, the sweet stepsister, is like, you know, they basically just kept body shaming her, and then she gets with the coachman who's also like a little heavier set, and I'm just like, oh look, they're both heavy. That's their character trait. Like, okay, they have to get together now.
I hate how they're like, you only go for the food.
Yeah, that made me want to puke.
And I'm like, okay, one, what's wrong with that? Second of all, the girl has probably some social anxiety because her mother and her sister suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I do also love the masks, the horse mask that she has.
I was like, why did they dress this girl like a horse? Why would you do that? That's so messed up.
It's beautifully made, though.
I mean, the costumes in that movie are like good and interesting. And the costuming, I would say, in the 2015 one is like really, really stand out.
I, however, do not like how they put Lily James, who is already very, very small, in, like, they didn't tight lace her, but the skirt is so big, it's an optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes her waist look even smaller than it already is naturally.
Yeah.
And apparently that dress is like circumference wise, or like was it diameter, is like 6 feet.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot. Jeez Louise.
And it, like, they had to do like dance rehearsals with like a fake skirt, so because they had to know how far apart.
It's just like, what's the bigger, like, Cinderella's dress has always been like an iconic kind of dress, but like
Information scene.
her dress gets so poofy at times in some of these like remakes. Like it just gets poofier and poofier. I feel like.
Well, Ever After they didn't do a poofy dress at all, thankfully.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
I don't love Brandy's dress version, but I do, however, love that scene and how they have the rest of the ball goers in like shades of pinks and purples and blues.
Yeah, she stands out more. Yeah.
Yeah, and she, like, I love like the choreography, and like I also love how in the 2015 version, not a single soul is in blue.
Yeah.
But does Brandy have wings, guys? Brandy didn't have wings.
That was that was funny too when we were watching this, because I think the scene went like Da Vinci. Oh no, because Cinderella said, if a fish and a bird love each other, where will they live? And Da Vinci's like, well, I will make you wings. And I turned to Scott, I'm like, that's not a metaphor. And he's like, what do you mean? And she shows up in wings. And he's like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore.
They framed Da Vinci as being the fairy godmother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, okay. I thought the door opening scene was funny too. They're like, all these servants are trying to jam open the door, and then Da Vinci just comes in and takes the thing out of the hinge, and then the door opens, and it's like, you guys couldn't do that?
Well, the best part is him going, I'll just be known as the man who opened the door.
I'll
like,
go down in history.
God.
I was like, oh my God, I can't.
Matthew,
gotta go.
you've seen these movies, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I keep thinking you're saying Frankie.
Yeah, I've seen Ever After, I think, twice or 3 times. And then I don't think I've ever seen Brandy's.
I might have to change that.
You do. Absolutely.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it.
It's so campy and weird.
That's why I love it, though.
And I'm so glad it got put on Disney Plus, so I don't have to watch a torrented version on YouTube.
Dude, people were like clamoring for it. People were like, why isn't this on here? It's Disney Plus. This is a Disney movie. Let's go. Like, we want Brandy Cinderella.
I would every few years watch a horrible, horrible quality version on YouTube. Just purely for the nostalgia.
I used to have it on like a VHS clamshell when I was younger. And I would watch that all the time. But I think I have it on DVD in my house. I know I have it somewhere.
I haven't touched one of those VHS clamshells in 20 years, and I can still smell it.
Yes,
I don't know if you knew this or not.
Really excited what you're talking about.
But the closing theme song for Ever After, the Put Your Arms Around Me, was performed by a rock band in Texas.
Oh. We're from Texas, so.
So
we're from New York, so we're
just
we're
based on when Da Vinci was alive and when Ever After takes place. Da Vinci died in 15 years.
Yeah, we said that already.
So in 19 years. But wasn't he young in the movie?
No, he was an old guy.
He was an old white-haired man.
So yeah.
I thought he was wearing a bald cap halfway through the movie.
No.
He was painting Mona Lisa as the movie was going on.
Oh, it was so funny. He unravels Mona Lisa.
Which, don't even get me started on how Mona Lisa was painted on a block of wood.
I mean, Mona Lisa
can't.
was painted between 1503 and 1506.
But it was painted on a block of wood and he carries it around rolled up.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Also,
Don't
he
even
has this
get me
other
freaking
amazing
started.
art piece that's never known. Of
Oh,
Also,
yeah.
Mona Lisa, I've never seen it in person. My parents have. It's very small.
oh
Yes, it's not big.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's
I think like 2 feet tall and like 1 foot wide.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Like,
that
it's
either.
not-
very small.
Mm-hmm.
I
yeah, 'cause
do
I'm sure
love
buying parchment
the
was expensive.
kind of tying into the original, like Grimm's fairy tales. I love how the framing device is the Grimm's brothers, or I guess Danielle's, was it great granddaughter or something?
Like, great, yeah.
Telling the Grimm's brothers the story. And I like how they bring up the slipper used to be fur or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So, there's been a lot of different items that have been used for Cinderella slippers instead of slippers. There's been anklets, rings, and bracelets that have been used in different variations, because there's been operas and ballets, theater versions, musicals, and about 40 film and TV adaptations.
Probably just in English is 40.
No,
Yeah.
that's in total.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That
Like-
seems like a small number.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
It's also
because in
it might
English,
just be
there's
one's just named Cinderella, because there's probably ones that are basically the Cinderella story
Mhm.
that
Like,
aren't
there's
named
Ancient
Cinderella.
Fistery, which is a Popeye parody of Cinderella.
Okay.
There's Senora in the Glass Hiracha, which is a Looney Tunes animated short film version of it.
Well,
There's
There's the arguably too many were made of a Cinderella franchise, a Cinderella story franchise.
Oh, yeah. And then wasn't there one with
Selena Gomez.
there was one with
in
Selena. But
Cinderella
there was a
story,
Cinderella movie
there's-
recently with like Camilla Cabello.
Yes.
Part of that
Yeah.
franchise.
Oh, okay.
That was a live action film musical.
Because
That's just what they labeled
So-
it.
I
Hillary
heard that
Duff,
was bad too, though.
Hillary Duff's version wants to go to college, and then Selena Gomez's character wants to dance,
Yeah.
and then Camilla
there's
Cabello's
Sophie
character
Hale,
wants to sing.
and then Sophia Carson, Laura.
Oh, Sophia Carson.
yeah.
Did you see that one in that Netflix movie? The was it like Purple Hearts or whatever about like the
Yes.
politically
Yes.
divided?
I was like, I know who
couple?
that is. Who is that?
And then there's
Looks a lot like the chick from Scream, though.
hers is
Yeah.
called
No,
If
she
the
does.
Shoe Fits.
I've seen that.
And then the
Oh, you
next
just made
one
me
was
remember
a
that.
Christmas Story, or a Cinderella Story Christmas Wish.
Okay.
Then Cinderella
Why would-
Starstruck.
That sounds like a Hallmark movie. Straight up.
Might be.
It very well
They-
might be.
They're straight to DVDs. But in all
Doesn't
honesty,
everybody?
the Cinderella Story, the first one, the Hilary Duff one, has the most people in it.
I love how they, instead of a shoe, it's your cell phone. It's very 2004.
Oh yes, it's
Mhm.
very 2000s-y, that one.
I like how her ball gown is a borrowed wedding dress. What?
Yes, a Cinderella Story, modernization featuring Hilary Duff, then another Cinderella Story, which is a part of it, Selena Gomez's, a Cinderella Story Once Upon a Song with Lucy Hale,
Oh, I do know that one existed.
Oh, okay.
a
I've
Cinderella
seen
Story
like that
If
one.
the Shoe Fits is Sophia Carson's, a Cinderella Story Christmas Wish, which is Laura Morano, and then a
is that
Cinderella
the one where
Story
she's like an elf
Starstruck
or something?
is Bailey Madison.
Oh, Bailey Madison is the girl who plays the young version of like every brunette actress ever.
Yes, where she's
Okay.
where
I'm
she's
picking up what you're
Snow
putting
White
down
in
now.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, she's young Snow White in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Scott's looking at it now, like very confused.
There's
I
a
like-
4-pack being sold.
Oh, jeez. You know
And
it's
then
a good
there's
movie when they're a
Cinderella.
four-pack.
Right. Quality.
What?
Quantity over
Cinderella.
quality. That's always.
No, I like the Hilary Duff movie. I actually think
I like
that
the Hillary
movie
Duff one.
has a fair amount of realism. to it for it being a fantastical movie.
Mm-hmm.
At least for the time, I don't think parts of it aged very well, but and I think it's genuinely really funny, especially Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh yeah, it's hard for Jennifer Coolidge not to be funny.
That's true.
Like
I remember there being a Botox joke in that.
her whole running joke about how her character's on an all salmon diet. It's beautiful.
Did you know that there's a shoes version of Cinderella called
what?
Cinderella?
I did know that existed. I don't know what the hell it's about.
I'm trying to read it, but it's not making sense.
What I'm learning in this episode is there's too many Cinderella adaptations.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Well, I think when you have these stories that were based off like books from ages and ages ago, then people can get the rights to it basically willy-nilly. They'll just make it constantly. Like there's this Three Musketeers has like 50 versions of that.
Yeah.
You know, Sleeping Beauty, all these have like versions upon versions upon versions of
They're
them.
still making Snow White stuff. There's a Snow White movie coming out next year.
With,
Like what are we doing?
What's her face? The chick who played Maria in West Side Story.
Rachel Zegler, yeah.
Rachel Zegler, yeah. I almost called her Maddie Ziegler, and that's the chick.
Same difference. It's fine.
So,
But
also in 1960, there was a Cinderella. Do you want to know what?
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know anything about
I've
it.
heard of it. Again, it's reverse roles.
Well, I mean, that's like the common practice for a lot of things. Like, you just take a popular property and switch the genders, and then it's different. And it's so
This was in 1960.
Honestly, I think that's what I like about the Hilary Duff one, is that I think it has the bones of the original story. It has the rags to riches, stepmom, stepsisters, Prince, has references to the old version, but it has enough that's unique about it. That it's not just a retread.
I think if you don't come at it with anything new, you're going to be rejected in time.
But at the same time, I think you're kind of splitting between two camps, because it's either people want it to be a faithful adaptation, but people also don't want it to be shot for shot.
Well, yeah, we don't need Gus Van Sant in Psycho.
Yeah. No, you have to kind of toe that line between making it your own and also staying true to the original source. I guess the heart of the original source.
Because I think what the culture that we're in right now with remakes, and not even just the Disney remakes, I'm talking like these franchises that are just rebooting old IPs and stuff, that it just feels like there's nothing original anymore.
Right.
And as much as I like when they're remaking nostalgic things, it's just like, can we write new stories, please?
But they know nostalgia is going to make money, so a lot of people, I guess, would say it's easier to just crank out a nostalgic property. Because either way, if it's good or bad, it's going to make money. If it's popular.
I will still watch all of the Disney remakes. I think most of them, for the most part, have been fun to a degree.
I would mostly agree with that, yeah.
I mean, I don't love how Lion King took out my favorite song, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, Lion King. Oh God, Lion King's rough.
Their eyes.
Remake of that.
The dead eyes.
Yeah. But you can't, if you're gonna do a live action Lion King with like real looking animals, it's hard to give them expression in their face because real animals don't emote.
Do you remember the obscene amount of movies when we were kids of like Homeward Bound and like Milo and Otis?
Yes.
Like we did
Love Homeward Bound
with real animals back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's possible to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Homeward Bound, I love that movie so much. And you're right, but yeah, I don't know. Something about The Lion King in particular was just, it felt like a completely empty recreation.
Oh, yeah,
It
was dead. It was
they were putting it, Yeah, they were putting it all in the CGI and stuff. Like, look how pretty it is. And then they're like, but wait, that's not why Lion King is like the best movie ever. It's a lot more than that.
Also, no offense to James Earl Jones, but he seemed real tired.
Oh, he did not want to. He did not want to
No.
redo Mufasa. He's like, why am I here?
I do think
I should be retired.
I think the casting in the live action Cinderella was really good. Kate Blanchett ate
Yeah,
up.
she was great.
Yeah,
And
but I can't see Helen Bonham Carter being the fairy godmother.
I
I
don't.
had forgotten that, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh, it was like
I love Helena Bonham Carter. She is an insane Bellatrix. I love her.
I can
Well,
only
yeah.
see her in evil things.
She will forever
Sweeney Todd and and that
she will forever be Bellatrix, Madame Thénardier, and Mrs. Lovett.
yeah.
To me.
She's also, again, Fight Club, but...
Oh yeah, Fight Club. Sure. But that's also kind of a dark character.
Well, it's a
too.
dark character, but she's not evil. She's just messed up.
Really screwed up. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But I do think like Kate Blanchett ate it up in that movie, and I love how she enters a room every scene and is like she's looking down her nose at everybody. And I love
She's
the
also
scene.
very tall, so it's easy for her to look down on everyone.
Yeah.
I love the scene where she's hiding in the attic, waiting for Cinderella to like come up looking for the slipper, and she's explaining why she hates her so much, and it's just like, she's amazing.
Well, I feel like the stepmother role, if you're going to do that, especially nowadays, that's such a role that almost has to be done in such a way that's almost a little cartoony.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
you know who did it badly? Idina Menzel.
Oh, was she in the newer one?
She was
The
in Camille.
One with Camille Cabello.
yeah. I never watched that. That's surprising though, because she's very much a theatrical actress. So you think
it was a jukebox musical version,
right?
Oh God.
and
Oh yeah, you didn't know about that? Oh
and
Scott.
Idina Menzel, as much as I love her, Broadway legend.
Oh, of course.
She looked so dead behind the eyes in that movie.
Aw. She probably realized the movie was bad, and she's like, I'm just gonna phone this in.
That girl can sing, and
What did she have to sing for that?
I cannot remember.
That's bad if you can't remember.
I
That
know
just says it right there.
I know the intro song was Rhythm Nation.
Oh my God. Jeez.
At one point they sing Somebody to Love, but that was mostly the Prince.
Yeah, I mean, it's a love song. That tracks at least. Oh,
And then I think that the stepmom and the stepsisters have a song that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but it's like a girl power anthem. I cannot remember what it is though.
Oh, fun.
I think it's like
Rhythm Nation
girls just
was
want to have fun.
Menzel. Material Girl was Menzel.
Material Girl, that's what it is.
Oh my God, it hurts. It hurts my brain. I'm so glad I didn't watch that. Okay.
Dream Girl
Cool.
was Menzel.
Wait, what? Was?
Dream Girl?
Dream Girl. I think that was original because it said written by Menzel and Laura.
Oh, okay.
Bell.
I thought you were like saying she sang a song from Dreamgirls.
That's what I
Wait,
thought.
what?
No, so that's just the name of the song.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
No,
That's
that
just
movie-
the name of the song.
That movie is absolute garbage.
Ah!
Cinderella
It's like-
character wants to be a fashion designer, but she's a woman.
Oh my God. I want to vomit already.
And basically,
No!
the prince has a little sister in this one, and the prince doesn't really want to be king, but the princess wants to be queen, but she's a woman.
Oh my God.
And so basically at the end the sister is like, I want to rule, I have all these ideas, and at the end the sister finally gets to rule and basically spits in the face of anti-feminism.
I mean, we love that. Jeez Louise.
It's the most aggressively PC 2022 modern movie that exists.
Ew.
And it was
Okay.
made by
Something
I have to
called it.
ask, why does every jukebox musical I feel like it's every one of them. Has to do, when they have like a female song, has to have Material Girl in it. Or like a Madonna song in it.
Well, because she's like a,
But it's every one.
She's
Rock
a
of
feminist
Ages have it?
icon.
Exactly. It's like low-hanging fruit. Like, you want to do a feminist icon song, pick Madonna.
You might as well be doing like "Girls Just Want to Rule the World" or whatever that song.
Right. Yeah. I was like, be careful what you say about jukebox musicals, Scott, because Moulin Rouge is a jukebox musical, and I love Moulin Rouge.
And Mamma Mia is a jukebox.
Oh yeah, Mamma Mia too. Mamma Mia is good.
Yeah, Rock of Ages.
Mamma Mia
I don't
has like, it's
think-
just ABBA.
Yeah, Mamma Mia is just fun.
Yeah, Rock of Ages.
You
I
don't have to
don't
dig
think
too deep
has
into that.
Mamma Mia in it.
Jukebox musical
Or,
by definition is music that existed prior to the movie.
Yeah,
Or the music.
yeah.
So technically, Mamma Mia barely scrapes by on the definition, but it
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
So yeah, that is Cinderella.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Cinderella 2022, only available on Amazon Prime.
yeah.
Because you know it's a good movie if it gets released on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Amazon Prime
that's.
has some good shows.
I love that.
It has some
It's
good
true though.
shows.
But yeah, I feel like you're right. Amazon Prime has it's a very mixed bag.
It's hit or miss.
Well,
Yeah.
It
I
can
think all
either
the
be-
streaming services, like their original content is all like, because they produce so much of it, they're like,
Mhm.
we just want it all out there. Some of it will be good, some of it will be some of it will be really bad.
I'm
Mhm.
shocked that Netflix hasn't tapped into the fairy tales realm yet.
I mean, they did with some of their like more cartoony, like they had the Bad Grimm.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
was
it
not-
wasn't good. I watched it because it dealt with Brothers Grimm, but it wasn't very good.
Is that the Matt Damon one?
No, okay, no, that movie is great. That's the Brothers Grimm. That movie is
Yeah,
great.
I've seen
That's
that,
Heath
I think.
Ledger and Matt Damon.
Yeah, I remember that being
He's
good.
talking about there's like a
There's a
cartoon.
Netflix
show.
original called Bad Grimm, where it's a cartoon.
I think it was made for kids.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
it wasn't good.
Well, maybe
I
you're not
tried
the
it.
graphic. Other than those are the big ones, I think.
Those are like the big ones, yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, most of them are foreign films.
Yet most of them will be either European or made in in Asia. There's a lot of Korean and there's a
I
lot
imagine
of
there's
French.
like a Bollywood version.
Let
might be
me
interesting.
see. Non-English.
A Bollywood Cinderella actually could be.
Like really fun, yeah, and like
Yeah.
lavish.
Like I'm thinking about like the big classic moments in Cinderella, and like I think one of the big ones is that classic transformation of her ball gown, and which I think Walt Disney said credited as his like favorite piece of animation.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that even remotely comes close is the one in the 2015 version.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little more extravagant, I guess, and like they take their time a little more.
Yeah, because Ever After doesn't really do a transformation scene.
No, they're just like, come,
No.
let's get you a dress with wings on it, and then off you go.
Yeah, I do think it is realistic that she wanted to wear her mother's wedding dress,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a boring dress.
It was like whatever, but they tried to spruce it up with like the makeup and the wings, and
The makeup was
okay.
right out of Claire's.
Claire's.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I
not.
mean, no, you're not. You're right. It's just funny.
It was straight out of a toddler ran rampant in a Claire's makeup section and put glitter all over her face.
Mm-hmm. Someone got into their mommy's makeup, and
Yeah. It was very I'm dressing up for Halloween in 1998.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do they like cut off her heel? Is that like the thing?
No,
I think
No.
isn't that the thing in the
That happens
Brothers
in the
Grimm?
that's in the Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Where one cuts off her heel, one cuts off her toe, and then the crow tells the prince, "Look at her shoe." I actually have the poem. I actually have my one of my versions right here. It says twice, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe's too small for her, your true bride waits for you.
That's disturbing.
And then when Cinderella wants the clothing, she says, shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down over me. It is, from what I can remember, the most accurate to Grimm's fairy tales. Or all of the fairy tales. All of them
from me,
are...
people love Sondheim, but I never really liked Into the Woods that much.
I'm not a big Into the Woods person either. So, and I'm sure a lot of theater people love that, but I'm like, it's fine.
The movie and the play, I think, are probably about an act too long.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with James Corden. Where I don't know
Doesn't
why.
everyone? I mean, stop it.
I just can't stand
If you
him.
didn't have an issue with James Corden, I think there was something wrong
That
with
would
you.
be more controversial at this point.
Which is one of the reasons why I won't probably see the Camilla Cinderella, because he's in it. He plays one of the mice.
Oh, is he in that too? Jesus.
Yeah, he plays a mouse.
He plays a mouse.
Oh, yeah, I remember that vaguely now.
He plays a mouse.
Is there maybe if you guys can think of any modern take on Cinderella that actually might be a little less generic than the interpretations that we've gotten, how would you do it? I don't have an answer for this. I was just curious.
I certainly wouldn't just swap the genders and try to pretend that that's an innovative idea.
Or just be like, feminism.
Yeah. I hate when they try to ham fist the feminism arc into a movie and look, we care about women. Okay. All right. Sure you do. Even in Ever After, when they every time they had a thing with the sister Marguerite, and the Henry's your brooch, it's so beautiful, and then they show her boobies, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we're after. We're after the booby shot. Got it.
It's really interesting to me how pervasive the story of Cinderella is, because we all know it so well. Yeah, I just don't think there's much else.
I mean, unless if they wanted to do a more true to the Grimms or the original French or something like that.
I'm kind of shocked they haven't done a faithful Grimm's adaptation yet.
Unfortunately.
Well, does anyone else have any other points to make? Any other things to say?
I think we've
covered most of it.
We've talked it all out. Yeah, I think we've covered the general idea of Cinderella.
And people find you guys out on the internet?
Well, if you'd like to listen to Scotty and I bicker about other movies, you can check us out basically wherever pods are casted. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. And we cover pretty much any and all genres. And
if you like us, you'll like them, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, we just have a good time, talking movies and all that good stuff. So feel free to come check us out too.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
I know it's a topic that's kind of been done to death, but it was kind of nice to just
talk about it overall instead of one particular thing, kind of like what we've been doing for the last year.
So, y'all have a good week, and we'll talk to you later.
You guys too.
Yep.
Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah.
If you would like to support this podcast, please consider checking out our merch store at thefanclubpodcast.myspreadshirt.com. You can get exclusive designs designed by us on t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and many other items. Be sure to follow us on all of our social medias for updates on what we're working on in real time. We're part of the Needlessly Nerdy Entertainment Network. They're a conglomerate of podcasts and blogs that provide entertainment, news, and reviews about all things nerdy, including movies, TV, books, video games, tabletop games, cons, pop culture, and more. Go check out all of the amazing shows on the network at needlesslynerdy.com.
Needlessly Nerdy, your source for all things nerdy.
www.needlesslynerdy.com.